Hello and welcome back to Railroads Online. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different of a running episode than what we've done in the past. We're going to be staying in the yard today. We're going to be playing around on the Inglenook yard that we built in the last build episode. Before we do that, though, I do need to throw this out there. With the weather beginning to stabilize towards spring and mowing season starting up, I may end up missing a video every now and then. So ATS is not in any danger. I've got those all pre-recorded. That's all taken care of. But I'm recording these uh, uh, Railroads Online videos a couple of days before I before I post them. So I may end up missing one. It depends on whether or not I end up getting sick because I'm severely allergic to grass and pollen, and how tired I am, physically tired, after I get done with a day's work, either here on the farm that I live on or working on one of the other properties my mother owns. With that said, just be aware the Railroads Online videos and quite possibly the new uh, Wonders of Sodor videos will occasionally miss a couple between 1 and 3 episodes. It just depends on where I'm at in the week as to when they get recorded and if they get recorded. I'm not gonna promise that you're gonna have one every single week during the spring, summer, and early fall. When the weather starts cooling down and getting too cold to work, I'll be back to every week more than more likely than not. But I just wanted to let you guys know that's what to expect, and there's nothing I can do to avoid that. If I want to continue on with my current lifestyle, I have to do this work. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's go ahead and start our start our day here. We're actually not going to start off with the Inglenook yard. I've done a little bit of work to it since the build episode. I had to fix a couple of things, and I've added some set decoration. We're actually going to be moving the stock that we sorted the other day, the rolling stock, into the holding yard. And the reason for that is that we have had a massive delivery over the last week of new rolling stock, and we are almost up to our goal of having 50 units of each of our currently needed rolling stock. Now, I do plan to purchase the non-essential rolling stock as well, the tankers and things of the like. But right now, I've got probably another week before I'm ready to start sorting the current deliveries that we've got. The current oh, what's the word I'm wanting to say? Inventory. That's it. That's sitting in the inbound yard, waiting to be sorted. So we're going to take and move the already sorted rolling stock to the holding yard, where they will be pretty well out of the way and ready to be put into consist to head up the mountain. Now, as we're doing this, you're going to notice the at least some of the modifications that I made to the Inglenook yard. And it's all, like I said, it's mostly set decoration. I had to extend out um, the two shorter sidings that we put in the other day because I quite literally ran into clearance issues on them. As in, I could not get the rolling stock that's over there to go into the siding without derailing because it hit another piece of rolling stock. So that all got fixed, and I put in some, like I said, I put in some set decoration to kind of make it look a little nicer. And I I set up a puzzle. I just kind of threw the cars in randomly, so we'll see how it works. You can kind of sort of see them there, uh, off to the side right now as we're going by, and I left Ingelbrook out there because we're going to be messing with him today, and that's going to be the majority of our episode. These puzzles are not easy, guys. Uh, Even some of the easier ones that you can complete in 10 moves or less can sometimes take hours to complete because you've got to figure them out. It just depends on really how good you are. And I don't even know if the setup that I've got is one of the um, known combinations, but if it's solvable, then it is one of the known combinations. If it's not, well, you know, I guess we start over. We figure another combination out and try again. Now, it should be solvable. It should be good, but we'll find out uh, when we get to that point. But yeah, we're going to be spending quite a bit of time over in the Ingelbrook yard or Inglenook yard. Well, that's if you've seen the title of this video, which I've already decided on that, just starting recording here, um, you'll understand why I keep getting them mixed up. Uh, but yeah, that's gonna be the majority of our uh, activity here today is trying to solve that puzzle. From what I understand, there are at least a couple of thousand different puzzles to uh, work to solve. Now, personally, I have no idea what any of them are. I just put the cars in randomly. I had an idea for what I wanted it to look like, and that's pretty much what it ended up being ultimately. And we'll take a closer look at that here in a little bit. But I wanted to get these out of the way because, as you'll see here as we're coming by, we have almost loaded up our inbound, um, shorter sidings on the inbound yard. Which once we get all of our rolling stock, it will not be used for that. However, I think that's a pretty justifiable use. We've got all of our inbound sidings over here. We've got um, our other yard here, and we've got the bypass here in the middle. And I think that's a pretty decent little separation there. Okay, so I think what I want to do, and I gotta make sure my switches here are set. Okay, I think yeah, no need to get out on the main line. My stutter is bad today, guys. Bear with me. I do apologize for that. What we need to do is figure out which sidings that we want to use. So I'm going to put the ore cars right in here, right next to the stake cars. So the stake cars, I do believe, are on the center line of the switches. Yep, and they are. And that switch right there is the one we're going to use. So that's going to be the line that we're going to put these ore cars in. And we should have two rakes of these, quite possibly, depending on how much this particular rake takes up in that siding. We may have two, we may have fewer than two, one and a half. But I think with as long as we made these, we should be okay. And these cars are definitely not lightweight. Lucky's struggling a little bit with them, and I know for a fact that every one of these has their brakes set to off, mainly because the yard's on the flat ground, so there's there's no chance of them rolling away. So I never bothered to reset them after I pulled them out of the sorting yard. So I think we're going to be taking multiple trains up the hill. I think uh, 5 cars of each type of consist will be more than plenty for what we're doing, or what we're going to end up doing. Now I know we're not going to get the full 50 of these into this yard by any manner of means, but we should be able to get quite a few into each sighting. I don't know exactly how many are on this line, but I know I've only got 6 up at the, it's like 6 or 7 up at the iron ore mine. So, um, yeah, we're also almost completely bought out on these. We've got almost 50 of them. Next week I'm going to be finishing off these. I'm going to be getting the other 20 or so boxcars that we need. And we are almost completed on the coal cars. I think we got 5 left to buy on that, so I'm going to be getting those too. And after that, we're going to let the ventilated box cars trickle in. We're going to get the tank cars. They're going to trickle in. And we should be golden on that. I'm going to be getting more, oh yeah, that's beautiful. We got plenty of room. All right. I'm going to be getting more of the cabooses as well. We've only got 3 or 4 right now sitting in the waiting yard. But yeah, we'll get that taken care of. Probably over the next week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that. It just depends on how much time I can get devoted to this game um, in between everything that I'm going to be doing. I've got, I've still got all that lumber that we cut down back in January to cut up and sort, and if it's too small to use, just burn it outright. Um, Mowing season, like I said, is getting to be a thing. That's we got 3 acres of grass that gets mowed on the regular, and right now about 1.5 of that's covered in that wood. So grass is growing, the wood's not. We got a problem. All right, so it is nighttime, and I will cut back to. I will cut back here in a minute once it gets daylight out. So I will be right back. Alrighty, I am back. I forgot to set my time back up to 10 minutes versus 1 minute because I was doing the work on the Inglenook yard. So came about a little bit quicker than I was expecting, but we're here now, so it's all good. All right, so this little, if I can get back over here, this little train here is quite a bit shorter. If you remember, we didn't have quite as many of these the last time we sorted everything out. Now, however, with only 5 left to purchase, the waiting yard over there, where all the disconnected cars are sitting, uh, it's inundated with these coal cars. So we should have no shortage of the. We should have no shortage of these. We may end up using 2 of these inbound lines if we put them over here versus directly into the holding yard. These are quite a bit lighter. than the ore cars, than the iron ore cars. They're also quite a bit smaller, but I don't think that's as big of a factor as you might think, because if you look, these are built. These look like they're built with heavier materials versus the iron ore cars. So I can imagine that they'll be significantly lighter, or they would be significantly heavier in the long run. Okay, so I think I want to use that siding there for these guys, mainly because I think we're probably going to end up needing 2 sidings total. But or at least once everything gets sorted, and you can see it's taking up. It's already everything's already being taken up by these coal cars. So we're going to have a lot of these guys to put away after all this is said and done. So when we go to running the Inglenook yard, I will explain the rules of this this particular yard. Um, I'll have them posted somewhere up on screen. That's going to happen in post processing. Uh, but for the most part, it's fairly straightforward. You want to get the cars numbered 1 through 5 in order. 1 being up behind the locomotive, 5 being at the tail end, and you want to do it in as few moves as possible. So there's a pretty good chance that a tally will be put up, and if you can run the same scenario in a simulator or something like that, I know there's some online. If you can run the same scenario and get a better score, comment. Let me know what your score would be. That'll all be. I'll take care of all that later. Um, or I'll rather that is I'll take care of explaining all that later. But yeah, um, that's basically the gist of it. Is you want to get the cars in line uh, in as few moves as possible. And it doesn't. There's no time limit on it, so you can be as careful or as haphazard as you'd like. But you got to be somewhat smart about what you're doing, because if you get yourself into a position where you can't make any movements at all, that's going to be frustrating. Because in this game, if you end up doing that, uh, you're going to have to go back in and manually reset every single car. The way I've got the Inglenook yard here set up, we have a switch that goes over to the shed there. Now that switch is situated in the long siding where all 5 of the cars and the locomotive sit once the puzzle's complete. And that switch I actually cannot use while there are cars sitting in that siding. So you see those 2 box cars and the single plank car uh, sitting there behind Ingelbrook. I can't use the switch that he's parked on. So that's why he's still sitting out in the weather and all that good stuff. So we've got our box cars left, and I think I am going to um, actually stick them next to the iron ore cars. We're going to stick them in behind everything. We're going to put them in behind the iron ore cars. And then we are going to put Lucky away and grab or go and grab Ingelbrook and start messing around on his little yard. Now I decorated it in such a way as to make it look like it's sort of like a event type deal that you might see at a county if you're in the United States at a county fair or a state fair or something like that. So it's got a little bit of a grandstand. It's got a little they even call it in this game an outhouse. But that's that little red building sitting there. I went ahead and fenced it in and I changed some of the signage and put some lighting around it so that we can do this in the dark as well. Um, However, knowing how dark this game really gets, I will pause when it gets dark out um, to do any more switching and wait until it gets light out again. So that's going to be probably where a vast majority of my recording time goes, is just sitting and waiting on the light. But, but yeah, you can see it kind of looks like a nice little area. It's a lot nicer than we left it the last time we saw it here in this series. And I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but the length of the state cars in the holding yard here, I robbed some of that from the holding yard, and I'm using that offline to build up funds just a little bit faster to get to get the rolling stock for everything. So we want that one. Whoops. I want that one, I think. Let's see. Yeah, okay. That's the one we want. So we're going to go right in behind the iron ore cars. Now, once I get all the rolling stock and we start working on the main lines again, or yeah, on the northbound line again, I will put the flatbeds and the state cars that are parked over in the outbound. I will put them back here in storage, uh, mainly because we're going to be doing a lot of other stuff alongside just running the lumber back and forth, and we really won't need to have them over there. I've just got them over there so I can use them while the or in between recordings while I'm trying to build up the funds to get all of this rolling stock. This is something that's been badly needed for several weeks. Let's put it that way. Since about halfway through season 1 when I started working on all this stuff. This almost looks like it's going to be shorter than the... Well, by default it's going to be shorter than the ore cars because they're shorter cars, but looks like there's fewer cars in it in general. Yeah, that may not be, though. I get about 1.5 to... or 1 1 1/8 to 1 on these box cars versus the ore cars. Bonk. And there we go. Oops. So yeah, we've got quite a bit less in terms of length. Um, so we've got ourselves a pretty good Let's just take a look at that real quick. Got ourselves a pretty good stockpile here. And you can see we've still got plenty of length, so if I can get the other 30 cars of the state cars and the flat cars in here, we should have no problem getting anything else in here. So that should be a good thing. Now I'm going to go ahead and put Lucky back in the roundhouse, and I will get back with you when we get to the Ingelbrook yard. Alrighty, we are back, and we are over here in the now finished Inglenook yard. And I just wanted to walk you through here real quick and show you a little bit of the set decoration here. Now this took this took far longer than it needed to. I think I was working on this fence just by itself for about 3 hours. But you can see we've got all of our signage lit up as best as it can be in this game, where it needs to be. We've got ourselves a little outhouse that we're basically using for the bathrooms. If this was a real event area, got our little grandstand here. Limited seating, so get your tickets early. But our main event here is this puzzle. Now you'll see, I'll bring up that diagram again. But basically, we have where these three cars here, where the crosshairs are, this one, and this one, and Ingelbrook are sitting, all behind this one sign down over here that's marked limit, right behind that switch, that throw there. That's our long siding. Now on that we need to have room for 5 cars plus Ingelbrook. The next siding in, we need to have enough for 3 cars only. And then the third siding in, we need to have enough for 3 cars only. Now, the reason we have 3, 3, and 2 instead of 3, 3, and 3 is because we need space to maneuver. For those of you who don't know what an Inglenook test is, it's basically a switching challenge. You've got to be able to move these cars around. So, if you load everything up, you're kind of deadlocked anyway. You can't move anything. This gives you enough room to move 1 car to start. Okay, so we could move this one here, or these 2. Okay, these 2 can fit in here, and it would give us our 5 cars plus our locomotive. So that gives us our room to maneuver. If we were to have 3, 3, and 3, we'd be deadlocked. We couldn't move anything at all with any degree of ease. This is probably the lightest puzzle. I've seen some go as high as 10 or even 20 cars. It just depends on the size of the yard. Here we're doing 8 total with 5 score wagons and 3 dummies. Excuse me, 4 if you count me. So the score, how this is going to be scored, I don't know how it's scored in real life. I don't have any idea. This is just something I seen. I said, "Ooh, I like that," so we're going to try it. So how this is going to be scored in the game here on this map and on all of my maps is you're going to get 1 point for every car in line. So you're guaranteed 5 points if you complete it. Okay. The locomotive is quite obviously worth nothing in terms of points. But for every car that you've got in line, you're guaranteed 1 point. So you've got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then the locomotive. That's 5 points. All right. And then you have a you have oh, I'm trying to think of how to do this. So you've got those 5 points. You can't go any lower than five if you complete this test. However, you lose a point for every move you make. So you've got to think about how many moves you can do. I am going to set a hard limit at 100 points to start. So you've got 100 moves that you can make, period. End of discussion on that. Um, I don't know how that's scored in. I don't know how an Inglenook test is scored in real life, but that's how we're going to score it here. And time is irrelevant. It can take as long as you want, but you have to get it in as few moves as possible. And the higher your score, the better. This isn't golf. I love golf with a passion, but this is not golf. So I'm gonna grab a piece of paper here so I can keep track. Bunch of stuff I gotta move here. Oh, things start crashing around, we'll know what happened. So you guys are gonna see a counter up on screen. Everything on this screen is gonna be shifted off to one side. You're gonna see the rules. You're gonna see the diagram at some point, but right now, as you're looking at it, everything is shifted off to one side, and you've got at least got the rules listed. Okay, so underneath that, you're going to see a counter, and it's going to be there's going to be two counters. One, there's going to be our score, and two, there's going to be our move counter. So I'm going to keep track of my moves, and when I get done with this, I'm going to break and calculate my score so that you guys will know when I know. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And like I said, time is irrelevant, but we're going to be using this a lot of this in fly mode because you want to be able to see where everything's at, in relation to what sightings. So first thing we need to do is figure out how to get five into the position that the one car is in. Now five, if I'm not mistaken, is clear over here. Nope, that's four. Okay. So there's five, right? So we need to figure out how to get that one out of there and over into the one position. So I think what we can do is grab wagon number 4 and these two flat cars. I'm just going to call them flat cars for sake of brevity, and run all the way down there. Now, this siding down here, we've got enough room for the locomotive and 3 cars. No more. So I think that will be our first move, is picking up number 4. Now, every car that you pick up counts as a move. Every car that you put, every time you put down cars, that counts as a move. So when you pick up a car, or 2 cars, or 3 cars, whatever, what have you, you can only move 3 at a time max. That counts as one move. When you put down X number of cars, that counts as a move. So moving number 4 by itself counts as a move. Picking up these 2 cars both count as moves. Okay, the 2 flat cars will count as moves as well. So already we're down to 3, or we're up to 3. So let's go ahead, and we want number 4 first. And I've actually got to put fire under this thing so we don't run out of steam. And we can get rolling here. So I want number 4 first. Now we're not going to use as much steam as we have available to make these 3 moves here. But I am going to, we're going to move slow on this. I'm going to write them down as I make them so I don't lose track and mess up my score here. But we want number 4, which I think, yeah, is in that sighting there, that third sighting. And after I get him moved, or get number 4 moved, I will I'll turn my headlight on because it's going to get dark here before too long. Now, I am going to be a little bit lax on this, but if you don't want to be, that's fine. If you want to be a little bit stricter on it, you can be. I'm going to say that if you only have 1 car, you do not have to go all the way down to the bumper stop. You can stop as soon as you clear the switch. That will still count. So we're going to come up here just till we clear the switch. We don't need to utilize that endpoint yet. When you're moving 3 cars, you have to go up there. But we can just go till we clear the switch. That's still going to count. That's still the same line. There's just no reason to waste that much effort. So I want to pick up, okay, I want to pick up that outside flat car first. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit the headlight. Headlight, there we go. There's our safety valve, so we've got pressure again. Now the reason I wanted number 4 first is because that's the car that we're going to end up putting in this sighting anyway, so I wanted to get a hold of that. So we've got, and you can see we're not quite to the limit sign yet, so we haven't broken any rules. Okay, that's why I picked this one up first. So that's a move. We're going to run out of light here before too long, so I will brake for that. Now, when I get this third one, I will be going all the way up to the bumper stop. We have to do that. But for sake of time here, I am going to just clear the switch in order to make my next move. So I want that other flat car. So it's, dang it, just broke the pencil. Broke the pencil lid, I should say. All right. So we want that flat car there. And when we get these 2 flat cars hooked up, when we get these 2 flat cars hooked up, we're going to move all the way down, and then we're going to put them back in this third sighting here where the other flat car is. So that will give us that'll give us pretty much a free space. Okay, so problem. Well, no, we're still legal if I'm thinking about this right. We're still legal because we have to come back here behind. See, we're not really, how did I get in there? We're not really breaking anything because we're not putting this one here. We're taking this one out. So we're still good. We don't have to be behind the limit bar or the limit post. So that's fine. So I'm going to move forward and I think we're going to go until we don't have any light. You can see it's kind of dark right now, but it's a clear night, so we've got we've got light. It's just a little bit difficult to see, but that's all well and good. So that's our 3 moves planned out, and I'll show you why we have to come up here to this limit sign. We have to it's kind of a necessity at this point because we've got our full rake here that we can handle. If we were to take 4, we'd be breaking the rules. We'd be past that limit sign. So that is why we have to um, come up to that sign or come up to the bumper stop when we have the full 3 cars. With the 1 car, the 2 car, it's obvious you're going to clear that sign. I'm going to be lax on that rule. But if you've got 3, you have to come up to that bumper stop. So we're going to put these 2 flat cars down over here on this last sighting over here, this furthest sighting. And I'm going to pause for a minute, and we're going to figure out our next move. Because, if I'm not mistaken, we have a car in the way that we need to move. We need to figure out where we're going to put it. So, we've got 2 here. And which one did I just unhook? Okay, that one. So we've got 2 here. We need 5. So we can only move 3 at a time. So we are in a conundrum here. How do we want to do this? This is where the thought process comes in, and I anticipated it taking at least an hour to do this. At least an hour. So, let's see. I think I know how to do this. Okay. So we're going to move 2 over here to where we picked this other flat car up. We're going to put it right in front of 3, and we're going to hook that up. And then we're going to go grab 5. Or actually, we're going to sit... we're just going to leave 4 there. Wait a minute. Now see, this is where thinking comes in, because we have our 3 out of the way. Now we need to figure out how to jockey these cars over. So if we move 2 over to 3, that may work. Okay, I am going to go ahead and pause now that it's fairly dark out, and I will be back when the sun comes back up. Alrighty, I am back, and we are still in a conundrum here. In thinking it out, I got all the way down to having 5 left over here, but we wouldn't be able to pick it up because we're only allowed 3 cars down there. So my initial thought was taking 4, dropping it in front of 2, picking up 3 and 1, and grabbing 4 again, and dropping 4 where 1 is, and this is going to get confusing very quickly. But then dropping 1 in front of 2, and dropping 3, and then moving 1 and 2 over into front of 3, which would give us 4 on this first sighting here, but we'd be left with 5, and we can only move 3 cars. So that's as far as I've gotten so far. So let's see how well that will work, because I can't really think that much further ahead than that. So let's see how that works. There we go. We're going to take 4. So we picked up those 2. Hold on, I've lost my count here. Picked up those 3. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yep. So this is going to be, we dropped those 2. Sorry, I had to mark down my move there real quick. And we're going to drop 4 in that siding there with the other 2 boxcars. And when we drop number 4 here, we're going to go pick up 1 and 3. 1 and 3. Okay. So you can see there was a little bit of extra movement. That's why the posts are where they are. If they're a little bit, I'm not going to count this. If they bounce back and they're a little bit ahead of this post, I'm not going to count that as a failure. There's 3 behind that post. We know they fit when they're all compressed, so if they bounce back, they bounce back. So that's move number. That was 4. That was 5. Okay, so that's move number 5. So we are that far down. So we're going to go pick up 1 and 3. And if you guys have already figured out this puzzle, don't spoil it. Don't spoil it for me. I don't want to know the solution until after I've finished it. I say that like you're going to be able to comment while I'm recording. That's okay. But yeah, if you guys have already figured out this solution, don't spoil it for anybody. If they want to try this, let them try it. I'd be glad to see, if anybody can score better than what I have, or anything like that. Okay, so we're going to pick up 1 and 3. So 4, 5. This is 6. Trying to keep track of everything here. And now, because, well, we've got 2, we know we're going to clear that sign, so we'll just clear the switch and move on back for move number 7. There we go. All right. So we want to pick up number 4. So we're going to go ahead and move back. And we're going to end up putting number 4 back in the empty siding now. But in order to do that, we've got to go all the way to the bumper stop, prove that we've only got 3 cars and we're still legal. So right there, and that is number 4. So believe I've lost count already. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, so that's right. I'm still on it. Well, we've got our 3 cars. We're going to move all the way forward. Now, you don't have to cram the bumper stop like I just did. You just it happens sometimes. So I'm not going to count that move as part of the move. This is all one move. We don't count that. We're only counting dropping the picking up and dropping. So we are technically in this sighting now, but I want this as far back as we can for clearance sake. So we are dropping for move number 8. So we're going to drop car number 1 in where we just picked up number 4 from. And we'll still be attached to 3, so we're going to put 3 in with 4. That's going to be next 2 moves. Now, because we're now only hauling 2, I can go ahead and relax a little bit. We're just going to clear the switch and move back. Maneuvering is a free move, so that doesn't count against us. So we're going to go ahead and put number 2. No, we're going to put number 1 back in with number 2, and after we get number 3 moved back over to with number 4, we're going to pick up 1 and 2, and we're going to move them over with the other 2. Clear as mud? Good. Alright, so move number 9. Are my keys here? So we want to leave number 1 here. Okay. Now, we are not done with those flat cars yet. We still need them. We're going to end up needing to jockey them around as well. So they're going to end up probably in the second sighting from the one that we're backing down to now. That's our move there. So we're going to detach from that one. We're going to go and grab 1 and 2, and we're going to move them over here. Now the reason I'm thinking that we're going to need to move the flat cars is because we still have to jockey those 4 over. Okay, so boom and boom. No, we don't want that. We want that. Oops. There we go. Yeah, we still have to jockey those 4 cars over. Now that they're in order, we're going to have to keep them in order, so we need to move them someplace. And like I said when we started this, I don't know what I'm doing here. So we want 1 and 2, so that's going to count as our move, or going to count as a point. 1, 2. Okay. Get my settings there and mark it down. So if my count's wrong, by the end of this, comment, let me know what the count actually is. Well, I'll have the right count when I get done editing the video, but you know what I mean. So, all right. So we are going to move these two back with 3 and 4. And that will count as our next move. Now you can already see we have fouled this switch, so this switch is no longer usable. That's why I left it where I did, or I left everything where I did, and I didn't put Ingelbrook away. So that's our next move. Did I already mark that down? Shoot. I don't think I did. Well, I'll get a different count here in a bit. All right, so I'm going to pull away from those. We're done with them, and I'm going to get out, and we're going to look, see what we can do here. So we've got to move 4 cars. And I think I already see a way to do this. I think we can grab 2 of the flat, or we'll start with number 5. We'll grab 2 of the flat cars. That'll give us our 3. We'll have to go all the way down to the end and come all the way back. We'll put the 2 cars, or the two flat cars in where number 5 is. And we will take, I think, number 1, and we'll put it in the center siding in front of these 2 flat cars. And then we'll grab yeah, we'll put it in the center siding in front of the 2 flat cars. And we will put 5 over here with the 1 flat car. After, no, I see what we're going to do. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to move these 2, we're going to grab number 5, we're going to move these 2 flat cars here over to where number 5 is now. We're going to drop them, we're going to keep a hold of number 5, we're going to move number 1 over here to the center siding with the 2 flat cars. We're going to keep a hold of number 5. No, we're not. We're going to... Do I want to keep a hold of number 5? Huh. I had it just a second ago. Bear with me. I'm going to cut out the dead space here. Okay, so this is still quite a bit more complex than it appears. I thought I had it. 2 flat cars. So we can only have 3 cars at a time. So take 5, move these 2 over, just 2 over, drop 5. In front of them. I could drop. So if we were to pick up 5 first, pick up two flat cars and put them all back into the center siding, and then we were to grab 1 and 2 and put them over here, we could grab 3 and 4, pick up 5, and move it back. Let's try that. So we want to grab 5 first. Dang it. There we go. So let's go grab 5. Now keep in mind, I am good with jigsaw puzzles. I am not good with this kind of puzzle. So if I get this and it just so happens to be the lowest score possible, or the lowest number of moves possible, that's sheerly by luck. I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay, so picking up number 5 is going to count as a move. Okay. We're going to go out. We're going to pick up these 2 flat cars. And that's going to count as a move. So, that. Go. Let's go and pick these 2 up. So we're going to have 2 free spaces available. Remember, when we started this puzzle, we started with 1 space. Technically, 1 space available. I mean, grant you, we could have moved one of the flat cars in front of the box cars that we had sitting on, and the flat car that we had sitting at the start. We could have moved. Oh, I've got to move all the way down. almost disqualified myself. I could have moved one over to the long line. So I guess technically we started with 2 spaces. So that qualifies. You know, technically we started with, oops. There we go. So technically we started with 2 spaces, so we still only have 2 spaces to maneuver. So let's see how this is going to work here. So from here, we only need to make, I think we only need to make 2 or 3 more moves. So we're going to leave them there. That's another move. I'll mark it here in a second. Okay. So, I think what we want to do, because we have the room, we want to move 1 and 2 over to where our single flat car is. So let's go ahead and do that. And I think we've got this puzzle solved. Those with massively sharp minds, okay, who watch these videos that we're going to be playing with this yard here, those with massively sharp minds will have figured it out before I even moved the locomotive the first time. And hey, good on you. You're far and above anything that I could ever possibly do. I mean, it's taken roughly about 30 minutes, so 30 to 45 minutes, so it's still half the time that I was anticipating, but quite a bit longer than I would have liked. If I could solve all of these within 10 minutes, that'd be great. So, I think that think I didn't mark that, so we'll mark that one down. So I will list what my count is, or I'll let you guys know how much what I've counted, and I will go back and I will count these in post processing and see if I've made any mistakes, and you will see the actual count uh, up here on the side. So let's go ahead and put these two in here, and that will count as a move. Yep, I think we've got this because we can move 3 cars. There we go. All right, so, and I just marked that one down, so we're good to go. So we can move 3 cars. So we're going to pick up numbers 3 and 4, and then we're going to go grab 5, and we'll be just about done. Now you can see how close those are. So I had to move everything to get a little bit of clearance. You can see how close 5 is from 1. All right, so we are going to go pick up 3 and 4, and that will be another move. I'll mark it down here as I'm moving, so I don't forget to mark it. And then we'll pick up number 5. All right, so, whoops, I don't need that yet. I need to go forward. Now, I think looking at the time right now, I've been recording for about an hour and 20, and 30 minutes of that was moving all the rolling stock over into the holding yards. So we've been at this for almost an hour at this one puzzle, not counting the break in between daytime cycles. So I think we can probably scramble the cars up and do another puzzle. So I've already marked this one down. So let's pick up number 5. We'll have to go all the way down, but we've got 2 moves left on this puzzle. We're going to drop these 3, go and pick up 1 and 2, and we're done. So we've got to go all the way down to our bumper stop. Whoa! Oh, Jesus. That was a hard hit. Oops. Okay, so we're going to put them back in the main siding. We'll not cram that in, but we'll do that. Get them put in where they belong. Oops, hit the increase on not the decrease. And our final move will be putting 1 and 2 back in line. Now, I have made it a point to in none of these episodes so far, I have made it a point to not hit the whistles on these trains, not for any particular reason, but um, in this episode, when we get this puzzle done, the way we're going to signal that we're sure we're done is we're going to give a blast on the whistle. So we are now picking up our last two cars. We are about done with this puzzle. Now we're not gonna hit that. Well, we're gonna hit that whistle when we hook up. Get in the figure. We're gonna we're gonna hit that whistle when we hook up, and then we're gonna see if we're right. Because that will signal that we are no longer able to make a move. If we mess up, we mess up. We fail. That's all there is to it. Failure is an option in this test. So, since this is our last move here, I have a count of 21 at the end of this maneuver. So whatever it happens to be, you're going to see it up here on the side of the screen here. And we'll see. That is it. We are done. All right. So, let's see. We've got our locomotive. 1, 2, 3, 2.5, and 5. We are golden. That is a successful test, guys. So I will break right here and reset for another puzzle. So I will be right back. Okay, we are back and I have a new puzzle set up. And the way I'm doing these is I'm just throwing them around randomly. So I don't know what is going to go where. I see something that I like and that's where I put it. So here we have a little bit different of a configuration. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this one, no two puzzles are exactly alike in terms of difficulty. Now, the rule still stands. We can only move 3 at a time, and we need to get 5 all the way down to 1, and then the locomotive. So, here's the conundrum. We've got to figure out how to arrange these. We've got to figure out how to move them around for what we want to move first. Since we can only move 3 at a time, I am thinking that we can pick up 4 and this flatbed first. Like I said, these are completely random, so I'm having to figure these out after I plant them. So I'm thinking we're going to move 4 and this flatbed first. We're going to pick up, or we're going to bring 4 over here and drop it. Put this flatbed back over with this one. And then how is this going to work? Because we can put 5. We can fill up our main siding here. So if we pick up this flatbed and 4, we drop 4, bring the flatbed back over here. Drop that. We can pick up all 3 of these. We really don't want to do that. Okay, let's just do those first two moves to start with. We'll see how that works. So I want to pick up number 4 and the flatbed to start. And typically when we start a puzzle, we're going to start all the way over here at the end of this siding right here, so that there's no question. I just started back here on the first puzzle because that's where it happened to be parked at the time. When we set these up, Ingelbrook will be all the way down at the other end of the yard. Okay, so we've got those two. Pick up these two first. It's going to be our first move. So and we're going to put them over we're going to put them over in the long siding. Or we're going to put 4 over in the long siding, excuse me. So the key with these is to try and do them in as few moves as possible. So picking up 2 cars like this and dropping 1, moving it back over. It's kind of a wasted maneuver, but it's sometimes they're essential. Sometimes you have to be back where you started in order to get cars jockeyed around where they need to be. So that may end up being what ends up happening. So there's that one. We can only move 3 at a time, so that flatbed's going to have to stay back there for the moment. And I think, so that's 2. I'll have to mark that down before I forget. So I think once we get this one moved, we can actually take all 3 of those and move that other flatbed out of the way. We can get that area freed up for now. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Back in there. I wanted my map. There we go. So we are putting, whoops, we are putting this flatbed back. That's going to be move number 3. So now we've got to figure out how we're going to move, and we can, like I said, we can move that flatbed out of there, get it out of play immediately. But we got to figure out how we're going to arrange these to where they're all in line. So let's go ahead and go and grab those 3. And when we grab those 3, like I said last time, we're going to have to go all the way down to the end there, just to prove that we fit by the rules. So, I mean, it's kind of a redundancy, but it's part of the rules in this game, i.e., the rules that I've made for this yard. I don't know if that's actual rules or not, but that's how we're playing it. So I guess they would be called house rules. All right, so we've got those 3. Now we have to go all the way down to the end. We're going to put that flat car in with the other 2, and it will be out of play for the time being. But that said, that siding will also be completely loaded, so we may not be able to um, leave them there. They may need to move so that we can jockey other cars around. If that's the case, uh, we'll have to put them in the long siding in front of two cars. We can only have 5 there, so we've got to be mindful of what we're doing. So, it's move number 5, I believe. Let's go ahead and move this on back. I think I made this harder on myself than than I needed to make it. Um, because I had just considered putting number 5 right here where number 3 is, reversing their positions. But ultimately, I think this will be a little bit more. I really don't think it mattered as much. Okay, so how do we want to do this? We can only move 2 at a time, or 3 at a time, excuse me. So I'm actually going to get out. I'm going to go into fly mode. We're going to look. So we've got 4 and 2. We need to move all 5 of them into position. They are all sorts of mixed up right now. So I think what we can do is pick up number 3. Put it over there in that siding. Along with, well, let's see. Okay, so how do we want to do this? I think we got stuck at the same spot last time, about 5 moves in, and we're stuck. How do we want to do this? We've got 4 and 2. We take 3 because we can only move 3 at a time. The only other option that we'll have to, only other siding we'll have to move them in is the long siding. But we could take and leave number 2 over in the long siding with number 3. Pick up 5 and 1, bring them over, and then set 1 in front of 2, and 1, 2, and 3 would be in line. But that would leave us 4 and 5 being reversed. So let's try that, see where we end up. Yeah, I think we'll try that, see where we end up. Because I'm not really seeing another way to do. I'm not seeing another set of moves just yet. So we'll move forward. Go. Let's see where we're at here. Move just to clear the switch. Go up, pick or go back and pick up. I think it's number 3. That's the first car, whatever it is. Okay. So that's going to be a move. 3. And we're going to have to go all the way forward. So, like I said at the beginning, I'm making this very generous. We're starting with 100 points and we're counting back. The highest score wins. So, if you can do better than what you're seeing here, leave your score down in the comments below. Leave you know, leave a comment. Let me know how you did. I'd like to hear your solution. All right, so that's two. Wait, we wanted 4, didn't we? Yeah, we did. No. Yeah, we did. We wanted 4. I unhooked the wrong one, so I got to hook that back up. That's not going to count as a move. If you need to hook, if you unhook the wrong one, I don't think that's going to count as a move for obvious reasons. So unhook the correct one this time. I mean, mistakes can be made. You know, I'll be lenient on that. I don't think unhooking the wrong coupler is going to count against you. Because technically you don't have to leave the sighting in order to rehook it. So we want to drop this one. We actually don't want to drop this one. We want to pick up the other 2. Go. I believe that's, my count's probably off here already, but we'll find out. So we got to go all the way back down. And when we come back, 1, 2, and 3 will be hooked up. And they will be in order. I find this similar to, in concept, to a Rubik's Cube. You got to figure out what combination of moves unlocks the puzzle, so to speak. And these tests I have found are not for the faint of heart. They are and can be, more often than not, very trying on one's patience. So 5 and 4 are actually in order, but we can only move 3 at a time. So we have to figure out how to get them in behind the other 3. Five and 4 are actually in order, so I did not realize that. So let's see. How do we want to work this? Because 1, 2, and 3 are in order. 4 and 5 are in order. We need to drop 4 and 5 someplace where they're going to be easily accessible because we're going to have to move them by together, I think. And we're going to need to move 1, 2, and 3 into another siding in order to get them in where they need to be. So we have a problem here. And the question is, how do we want to do this? Because if, well, no, I think I just figured it out. I was going to say, if we move all these flatbeds over, we're in no better position than when we started. But if we were to take 4 and 5 and move one flatbed over, and then take just one, uh, well, I had it. I had it just a second ago. I had it. Take 4 and 5, move one flatbed over because that's all we can move. That'll put them reasonably accessible. I'm trying to figure out how exactly I want to do this because we need to move 1 so that we can move 2 and 3 together to pick up 4 and 5. So if we were to take and drop 4 with 2 flat cars, we could take and put 1 in behind. Hmm, this is a conundrum. I am at a loss here, I think. How do we do this? Somebody's already figured this out, I'm sure. You guys are just screaming at the at the screen now. I can't hear you guys. Um, sorry. Let's see. We want 4 and 5 to be readily accessible. So we move one car over. That only gives us one spot to use. But we could put 3 in. Or no, we could put 1 over here, which would give us 2 and 3 to put 4 in behind. All right, let's try that. We're going to try and move 4 and 5 with one flat car over this empty siding. We're going to try that first. So we're going to see where we end up. I believe I've already marked that down as a move, so I don't need to do that again. We just need to mark our next move. Okay, so we want that siding there. Yeah. I'm probably working myself into a corner right now. So that's move. Put these 3 into that siding, and because we've got 3, we've got to go all the way down. Bonk. Oops. I don't like doing that, really. There's a very high chance of derailing the locomotive. So I try not to do that. Or derailing anything, really. Okay, so let's see. 1, 2, and 3 are in order. We can only move one car at the moment. What we may be able to do is take 1, move it over here with these other 2 flat cars, move 2 and 3 over to where 4 is, pick up 4 and move them back over, and then move 1, 2, and 3. No, I think we have an issue here. I think this might not be solvable. Of course, somebody's probably already solved it in their head and just screaming at me, why don't you see it? We need to drop 1 over here. That's 1 over here in order to free up 2 and 3. But when we pick up 4, those are going to be pretty well locked in because we'll only be able to move those. This is curious. How do I want to do this? Either way, I'm going to have to do it after the sun comes back up, but I will figure this out. That first test, I think, was a fluke. I think that was a little too easy for me. I mean, regardless of what we do, we're going to have to move 1 in order to get to 2 and 3 so that we can hook up 4 and 5 at the back. But since we can only move 3 at a time, we're pretty limited in our movements here. Because once we move 1, we're only going to have 2 slots available. Right now we've only got 2. Thinking ahead to that one. Right now we've actually got, yeah, we've got 2 over there and 1 over here. Once we move number 1, we're only going to have 2 slots available. Technically. All right, I will be back when the sun comes back up, and I will get this figured out. In the meantime, I hope. Okay, so I've been looking at this for the last 10 minutes, and I thought I had it solved twice, and then immediately forgot. So we're going to start with the first half of what I thought I had, and we're going to move number 1 over to this free space here. We're going to grab 2 and 3, pick up 4, and we're going to put them back in this siding over here where 1, 2, and 3 are now. And then we're going to pick up 5, pick up 1 and a flat car, move 1 and a flat car over to where 5 and 4 are now. And from there, I will be able to solve it. I just keep forgetting exactly what comes next. So let's take a look. We're already uncoupled, so I can move forward. We're going to go grab 1. And hopefully this works. Hopefully this works out, because if I thought about it the right way, if I went about it the right way in my head, it should work. but I don't know that it'll be. I don't know that it will be solvable from there. I don't. I can't. I'm missing something. I know I'm missing something, and I'm not quite sure what it is. Like I said, I thought I had it twice, and then forgot the steps that I wanted to take. So, yeah, that's my memory at work. I'm actively thinking about something and forget what I'm thinking about. So we want to take one and move it over here for now. I believe I marked that down. If I didn't, I'll mark it here in a second. Okay. All right. So there we go. It's marked down. Now we want to grab 2 and 3 and pick up 4. So that's going to be our next 2 moves. So we want that siding there. So we want 2 and 3. And we're going to pick up 4 because we want 4 in line with us. We're going to go just till we clear the switch here. It's not so easy to see with that building there, but I guess that's a little bit of added difficulty. And we're going to go grab number 4. So if my count is right, we're up to 15 moves now. This being our 15th move right here. If my count is right, I'll have the correct count on the screen beside what you're seeing now. So pick up number 4. Now we got to go all the way down and come all the way back. If it weren't for the fact that something like this would take up so much room, I would put a little yard like this on my property, the farm that I live on. But we're looking this is easily more than 5 acres right here that we're dealing with just in the switch yard and the shed. It'd be plenty big enough if it was like narrow, 2.5 foot or 15-inch gauge. You know, that'd be perfectly large enough. We could do that. But yeah, something like 3-foot gauge is just too big for the amount of land that I've got. Okay. So that's 16. If my count's right, I'm not gonna list them all off. So now we want to grab 1. No, we want to grab 5 and then 1 and a flat car. So you can see how these puzzles vary in difficulty, uh, because this one is actually in my opinion, markedly more difficult than the one we had to start. So yeah, it's definitely a thought process. Okay, so we've got 5. Now we want to pick up 1 and 1 flat car. So that's going to be our next move. So okay, let's go pick up 1 and 1 flat car. Okay, so our 2 here, 1 and 1 flat car, is going to go back in this siding here with the 1 flat car in it. But because we're hauling 3, we've got to go all the way down and all the way back. Keep, I keep smacking into that like I'm not really paying attention. I am. I'm just trying to ease the brakes in a little bit more, or a little bit more than I probably should. I should probably put them on a little bit harder than I do. Okay. So once we get these moved over here, these 2, we're going to put 5 in with the 1 flat car. So we basically just reverse the order. But I think we just reversed the order. Yeah, we did, but I never was very much for smarts. Um, Basically, what we did is we gave ourselves a little bit of room. I think ultimately what we did is screw ourselves up. So what I want to do, put 5 over there. I'm gonna think this out a little bit here. Put 5 over here. 2, 3, and 4. Put 4 over here. Did I screw this up? I think it can still be salvaged. What we're going to do is we're going to uncouple. I think I've already uncoupled here. No, I haven't. Okay. So we're going to uncouple. I haven't uncoupled at all. So we're going to uncouple here. And we're going to go and grab this other flat car. And we're going to put it where 1 is. And then we are going to drop 1 and 5 over here. No. No, we're going to keep a hold of 5. We're going to drop 1 over here. We're going to go pick up 2 and 3. We're going to move them over here. Like I said, I was this close to having it figured out, and I missed something. So we haven't uncoupled yet. So technically we're still in our maneuver. How do we want to do this? If we leave 1 there, we have to take 5 regardless. But we have the option right now of taking 1 and 5. Racking up points right now. That's the problem. Okay, so move 5 over here. I thought I had this figured out. So if we put 5 over here, grab 2 and 3, move that flatbed over, put 1 back here. 1 and 5 are reversed. That's my biggest problem is I need to get those. That's what I'm missing. Yeah, I need to get those backwards. I need to get them turned around. So put 5 over here, grab 1, come back over, grab 5 and the other flat car, dump the flat car over there, put those 2 back. No, I don't want to do that. 5 over here, bring 1 over here, take that line, bring the flat car over here, put these 2 back. Bring 2, 3, and 4 over, put 4 here. Okay, so what I'm thinking is taking 1 and 5, hooking up to this flat car, putting the flat car over there. But I've got to reverse the order. So 5's got to go over here first, then I go pick up 1, put them in, put them in together, grab the flat car, bring it over here. And then take 1 and 5 and put them back in this site, what will be the empty siding. And from there, I know the solution is just right there. It's so close I can see it. But at the same time, I'm not sure how to move to make it happen. Oh. Wow, okay. So, swap 1 and 5, turn them around, leave 5 over here, put 1 over here, grab 2, 3, and 4, put 4 over here. Dude, I just had it. Swap 1 and 5 around. So 5, go back over here. I will be cutting out the dead space in this. Let's see. Leave 1 hooked up. Put 4 in front of it. 5 back here. That might work. Okay, let's try that. We're going to put 1 over here. We're going to keep, and we're going to put 5 in where 1 is now. We're going to take 2, 3, and 4. We're going to put 4 in front of 1. And then use 2 and 3 to grab 5 and put it over there. Grab 4, put it over there, and put 1 over there. I think that should work. Let's see if that's what it'll take. I think that's what I came up with before and forgot. So 1 and 5. We want to put 1 over here. So that's the end of our maneuver. And I will, here in a second, I will refire the locomotive because we are going to start losing pressure here before too long. Let's make that happen. Okay. And we want to put one back in here. So you guys can kind of see how these puzzles can get pretty difficult. So there's no small amount of skill that goes into doing them. You got to be able to figure out where everything's supposed to go well ahead of time. And obviously, I'm not too very good at that. Um, but we're making it happen. So we want to put 5 back over where 1 was initially with the 2 uh, flatbeds. I think this is how it's going to work. And naturally, it would seem that a dust storm's beginning to roll in. Okay, so let's get that one uncoupled. It kind of looks like there's a dust storm maybe starting to roll in. It's getting a little hazy out. And then we want to grab 2, 3, and 4. There. Oops. Yep, looks like we got a dust storm moving in. Gee, many Christmas. Okay. So we do want to grab 2, 3, and 4. I've probably added about 5 moves onto this than I needed to. But we'll make it happen nonetheless. Now we're going to drop 4 in front of 1. That's the only space we have available. And then we're going to use 2 and 3 to grab 5. And we're also going to use 2 and 3 to grab 4. Okay. So we want to drop 4 in front of 1. And if my count is right, which it's probably not, we have just tied with our last puzzle. Okay, now. Yeah, okay. Leave 4 here. We're going to go grab 5. Now, since we still have enough, yeah, since we still have enough light out and visibility out, it's not just a black screen. I think we can keep going here. We've only got a couple of moves left. So we'll grab 5. go. And we'll put 5 over in the long siding. But we've got to go all the way up and all the way back. And the reason I'm insisting that we go all the way up and all the way back is because if this yard was not connected to the main yard and the main line, the main railroad, um, this would be the only amount of space that we'd have. So I am acting, I'm basically ruling it as if that switch that connects the Inglenook yard into the rest of the yard is not there. Now I could shorten this up so that we foul this switch when we stop, but on that note, I really don't want to do that because it looks good as it is. With this switch here that goes into the carriage shed back there, you know, that's kind of a necessity. There wasn't really a whole lot of other ways that we could have got around that. Okay, so we want to get rid of number 5 here. Just leave it sit there for now, and we're going to go pick up number 4. And I think we've pretty well got this. I think we're pretty... Okay, yeah. I think we've pretty well got our puzzle solved here now. It took a little longer, but we got there in the end. So we're going to go pick up number 4. When we pick up number 4, we'll be able to drop 4, 3, and 2 all in the long siding with number 5. So they'll be just about in line. We'll be just about done. We'll only have to get number 1 and then we'll be good to go. So, go all the way up and all the way back. There we go. Oops. So we've got 5, 4, 3, and 2 all lined up now. Brian, press those back down a little bit. There we go. And it's going to get dark out quick. But we've only got 1 move left, so we're going to go ahead and make that. Well, technically 2 moves because we've got to pick it up and we've got to drop it off, so that counts against us both times. But that's okay. We know we've got those moves. So if my tally is right, and you'll see the actual count up on screen. if my tally is right, by the time we get this done, we will have 26 moves total. So a full 5 moves more than our last puzzle. We're not going to try for a third one today. Um, but you can see how this can kind of get just slightly addicting if you enjoy puzzles. With it being an otherwise clear night like this and having all this dust out here, it kind of looks like a massive wildfire, to be honest with you. Okay, so we're gonna put one in. We're gonna sound our whistle, and then we'll get our consist judged and get our final score. Bonk. All right. So that limit sign is just a little bit further out than it needs to be. It's fine where it's at. It's just for, whoops, we didn't sound our whistle, did we? There we go. We only have to hit it once, but oh well. All right. There we go. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, that's another successful test. If my count is right on this one, we had 26. 26 total moves. If that turns out to be accurate, you'll see it up here on screen. And our last puzzle we had, whatever it was, my tally says 21. It might be different. If you guys can do these two puzzles in less maneuvers, comment down below and give me your solutions. Let me know what you did different. Let me know what your score was. But, don't outright spoil it. Just tell me which moves you did or didn't do, But for now, since this video is going to be posted right at the end of March, I regret to say Patreon is no longer active. For those of you who have checked out the page, and for the one subscriber here on YouTube that did actually join as a free member, I'm sorry that Patreon didn't work out. I will probably bring it back later when the channel has grown significantly. I'm not going to delete the page, but it is no longer active. I am going to be taking it off the active list and just waiting to see what ends up happening. But for now, I want to say thank you guys for joining me here today. If you enjoyed this video, if you want to see more Inglenook tests, leave a like, subscribe. You'll see every video that I post here when they come out. You'll get notified when they come out. If you try these puzzles yourself, let me know what your score was. If you get a better score than I've got, let me know what your score was. If you found a solution that was better than mine, let me know if you want. But if you don't want to, all's good. You don't have to spoil it for everybody else. But yeah, I want to say thank you guys again, and I will see you on the next one.